Did you know a handshake in Washington could end decades of bloodshed in the Caucasus? A train robbery a century ago still echoes as a symbol of India's fearless fight for freedom, or that a wild shrub from the Himalayas might help defeat the world's most stubborn superbugs. Today's six stories takes us from lions roaming freely in Gir to massive development promises in the northeast and the shadowy power of sanction that shaped the world economy. History has been made in Washington. Armenia and Azerbaijan have signed a landmark peace agreement brokered by the United States, ending decades of conflict over the Nagorno-Karabakh region. This pact comes after years of violent clashes, most recently the 2020 war that saw Azerbaijan reclaim large parts of the disputed territory. Under the new agreement, both sides will recognize each other's territorial integrity, commit to non-aggression, facilitate the safe return of displaced people, and begin joint economic projects to rebuild war-torn areas. The US role signals Washington's intent to expand influence in the South Caucasus, countering Russian dominance and balancing Turkey's growing role in the region. But peace is fragile. Analysts warn that trust must be rebuilt not just between governments, but between divided communities. Exactly 100 years ago, on August 9, 1925, revolutionaries of the Hindustan Republican Association carried out the Kakori Train Action. Led by Ram Prasad Bismil, Ashfaqullah Khan, Chandrasekhar Azad, and others, they stopped the government train near Kakori in present-day Uttar Pradesh and seized the funds nailed for the British Raj. It wasn't just a robbery, it was an act of defense against colonial exploitation. The British response was swift: arrest, trials, and executions. Bismil, Ashfaqullah, and Rajendra Lahiri were hanged. Today, this event is remembered as a turning point in India's revolutionary movement, a moment when young freedom fighters showed that courage could shake an empire. From the pages of history to the cutting edge of science, researchers at IIT Roorkee have developed a plant-based compound that shows strong potential against antibiotic resistant bacteria. Antimicrobial resistance, or AMR, is often called silent pandemic, projected to cause 10 million deaths annually by 2050 if left unchecked. The IIT team screened hundreds of Himalayan medicinal plants and discovered one with unique bioactive molecule that break bacterial defense walls. This breakthrough could inspire new classes of antibiotics, a field where innovation has been stagnant for decades. India's contribution here could be vital in global AMR strategy. In Gujarat's Gir National Park, the roar is getting louder. The Asiatic lion population has risen to 674 individuals, a remarkable turnaround from the brink of extinction in the early 20th century when fewer than 50 remained. This success is credited to strict anti-poaching patrols, habitat corridor expansion, relocation of villages from core areas, and continuous monitoring through lion census operations. But challenges remain, including human-wildlife conflict and the need for a second home for the lions to prevent disease risk from single habitat. The center has announced special development packages worth thousands of crores for Assam and Tripura, targeting infrastructure, healthcare, education, and cross-border trade. Highlights include new national highways and upgraded rail links, expansion of border trade with Bangladesh, investment in skill training and rural entrepreneurship, and improved healthcare facilities in remote areas. The Northeast is being positioned as India's gateway to Southeast Asia, tying into the Act East policy. Economic sanctions have long been a preferred tool of US foreign policy, targeting countries from Iran to Russia, Venezuela to North Korea. The US framed sanctions as a way to enforce international law and deter aggression. Critics argue they serve as instruments of hegemony, pressuring government while harming ordinary citizens. Sanctions can freeze assets, restrict trade, block financial transactions, and limit access to technology. In an international global economy, such measures ripple far beyond their intended targets, influencing supply chains, commodity prices, and even the stability of allied economies. From peace tables in Washington to the dusty tracks of Kakori, from lab breakthroughs to roaring lions, from Northeast Growth Corridor to the shadow of sanctions, today's six stories remind us that history, science, nature, and geopolitics are threads of the same fabric. And every headline is a clue to the world we are building. This is Now and Now, where news becomes story,